How's it going, lads? It's your boy Lumikaze here for a really quick and simple emission tutorial for some of those who might find it kind of confusing. Most of this is going to be done improv, no script, so might be stuttering a bit, but I'm not going to mess up on any of the mechanical steps. So what you got here initially, your material, your weapon model, and your texture all set up already. Ignore that, that's not supposed to be here. So you just, oh my. So all you gotta do is set up your blade in the scene real quick. I'm not really gonna be worrying about sizing too much, because this is just a simple guide. Got it there. And you put your material on, bam boom. Looks perfect, spot on. And of course you do the normal steps, create a thing, put your thing in, just calling it that. Add your item, def, whatever. But the important thing is to make sure you unpack your prefab, and then once you create your blade, or blades, I just call mine blade because whatever, with the collider group, the emission render is what's important. The effect renderer and the other two things don't matter. You drag your model into there, and that tells the game that when you hold a fireball or gravity orb close to it, it will affect this model, or this part of the model, which in this case happens to be the whole sword, but sometimes it could be the hilt, or the blade, or the pommel, or the guard, or whatever. So you gotta make sure you get the right part. Although I find it easier to just have it be the whole model. So after that, you just make your things. And then with the material, you have to set your emission map. So most stuff sometimes comes with a roughness map, which you can use because it's just like grit and such on the sword and everything to give it weathering and such. But I like to make my own emissions. So this darker gray part of the blade is where it's going to be slashing people. So if I bring it into an editing program and it has a simple enough texture, you can tell that this is going to be the dark part that it is on Unity. So all you need to do is select that part, make a new layer, and then paint whatever you want to light up white. Because white is the default color, and it'll change that white to whatever color it's supposed to be for fire, red, gravity, purple, lightning blue, you know. You're going to make sure everything is transparent except for the emission. And you save it as whatever, emission 1. Make sure you save it as a PNG, otherwise it won't have transparent background. Then you bring it back into here. And initially when you have the emissions tab up, it's going to all be up. So you drag the emission into the map, and you see now that this part is lit up. So that shows that that's going to be what's emitting the light on the actual weapon. And the actual like fire particles that come off of the weapon are based on your colliders that are on the blade. I don't have any on here right now, but it would just be the green boxes along the blade's edge. And then after you do that, you make sure each of these are at 1, because when the weapon spawns initially, if you have it like this, it's going to start as white, and then when you start imbuing it, it's going to go back down to normal color and then turn red. But if you do it, change it to 1, it'll stay at this color until you start imbuing. And that should do the trick. So I can swap over to my game real quick and show you how it works. Just putting in a tiny but ever so crucial little detail I missed from my last editing session. So talking about emissions still, this part, the blade collider where you set the model part as the emission renderer, the name of the collider group is also extremely important. So take note of what it's named. It could be called blade, it could be called blunt, but not on this one. It could be called whatever you want it to be. The important thing is that you remember what it's called. So then once you're finished and you export your weapon as the .assets file, you need to take your JSON file, go down to where the damagers are, and make sure in the collider groups this transform name is the same as the one that's in Unity, because otherwise it won't work. I forgot to say that, but it is important for the emissions to work at all. So yeah, now let's swap over to game. Alright, so now we're here in game, crafting like an all. And I already have this sword made, although it's made properly, instead of just in the Unity showing the example, like a drawing, whatever. The important thing is, do it. As you can see, the texture is working. The part I colored white is the only thing that's lighting up, and the fire textures are only coming off of the blade, and not the hilt, pommel, or guard area. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope I helped some of you out who are having trouble with this. And, yeah. If only I can get this weapon off the ceiling. That'd be radical.